Hi, so today's book review is going to be on the second book of the Witchcraft Mysteries by Juliet Blackwell, and this one is called A Cast-Off Coven. And so you're back with Lily. All the same characters are back in this one as well. And there is one thing I didn't mention in the review to the first book, is Lily actually has a way of sensing things from the vintage clothing that she has in her shop. So this is kind of where the story begins for this one. People know this about her, and there's something going on in the School of Fine Arts, and it's kind of scaring the students, so they ask her to look to see if there's a paranormal activity going on. In exchange, they'll give her some clothing for her shop. And while she's there, she actually comes across a body in the school. So she tries to figure that out as well, on top of the paranormal activity. So this book mainly takes place in the school. She detects an evil aura from the clothes, which now, since she has the clothes, it could kind of put her in danger. So that is tied in with the rest of the story, and so there's a lot going on in this book. On top of her communication with her familiar Oscar, which I love their scenes together. They're so much fun. If you ever pick these books up and start reading them, you'll understand what I mean. Oscar is the best. He's so funny. I think it's the sarcasm in him that I really love, and he's kind of sassy too. But anyway, enough about him. He is one of my favorite people. Although he's not really a person. He's one of my favorite characters. And this one I read pretty fast because of all the stuff going on, so this was a good one. I want to say no. I was just about to say I think it's one of my favorites so far in this series, but then I thought of another one that I kind of recently read, and that one kind of had me on the edge of the seat as well for a completely different reason. But that review will eventually come up and you'll find out what that will be. But I'm going to try to do these more often because I didn't realize until I started doing this that it was since, I think, December when I did the first book. Nope, I'm looking at it now. I guess it wasn't December. It was January. Well, it felt longer. It felt like December. So I'm going to try to do these more often to kind of catch up to the rest of the series. So I really do try to space this series out. So I have one book that I haven't read yet, and I'm trying to not read it yet until I have another one, so at least I know I have 2 books to read, because I'm still a few behind, and I'm trying to keep it that way, but I think I'm slowly getting closer and closer to the last book. The day I found the first book in a Borders, I do not regret that day at all. I originally went in there to look for a Stephen King book, and I did find that book, and then I thought I need to get something else, and the first book was that book. And I am so glad I did, because it's one of my favorite series now. So if you haven't started this series yet, this is actually the perfect time to start, because you have a lot of reading to do. I don't even know how many books there are total so far, because I have 8? I want to say 8. I know there's a few more after that. I think what else I really like about this series is she lives on top of her shop, which I always thought was a cool thing to do. Like, you know, those pictures of like bookstores with little apartments on top of it. I've always wanted to be in a situation like that where I live on top of, ideally, a bookstore. Although I may not be able to pay rent if that was the case, because I'd be buying so many books instead. But the thought is nice. But she lives on top of her store, which I think is pretty cool. But that's the second one. So the third one will come up probably around like mid-March. If you like ghost stories, this one, on top of her being a witch, on top of everything else that goes along with this series, it was entertaining. But that's the review on the second one. If you guys decide to pick this series up, let me know. I don't know if you're just going to wait until you hear the reviews on all of them. But if you decide to get it now or get it from the first review or the one coming up, I love talking about this series. So if you have read it, let me know. If you haven't or plan to, let me know. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.